Academic excellence begins with a great school culture. Vision, leadership, and a positive working environment are the keys to success. It's all part of the hidden curriculum. But how can your institution prove that it passes the test? Welcome to Best School to Work, your guide and beacon for great school culture. Imagine a future where schools shine and teachers thrive. Our certification program empowers schools to create a positive culture that stands out from the rest. While detailed guidance and expert-led courses allow schools to keep improving their culture, achieving certification will put your school on the map. Best School to Work is the gold standard of school culture. Together, let's transform education. Join Best School to Work and create a brighter future for our schools, students, and educators. Start your journey today.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to today's Spotlight, brought to you by Best School to Work. My name is Mike Fisher. I'm the COO of T4 Education, and I will be your host today. So at Best School to Work, we focus on the topic of workplace culture. And today we specifically want to delve into the issue of teacher wellbeing. So over the last few years, student wellbeing has really grown. It's become a topic that has become discussed a lot more, become at the forefront of discussion, especially since we had the COVID period. But teacher well-being sometimes comes a little bit secondary. And wherever you look, the statistics are stark around teacher well-being. We are really in a crisis period with regards to teacher well-being, and we need more focus on the topic. So just to add a few statistics that really pronounce this. If you look at the OECD, states that we need 44 million new teachers globally to achieve, by 2030, to achieve basic universal education. If you look at some other research studies, a study by Education Support in the UK, 55% of staff consider their organization's culture has a negative effect on their well-being. Research we've done ourselves at T4, so we undertook that with our community. 71% of teachers said there's too much pressure placed on teachers. 40% of respondents in our survey said that they plan to leave the profession or were undecided. So we really are in a crisis point, and we need to talk about solutions and what, as an industry, as school leaders, we can do to support teacher wellbeing. And obviously, there is a lot of evidence, and our speaker today is going to talk about that links teacher wellbeing, school culture to better student outcomes as well. So I'm delighted to say we've got a fantastic guest joining us today who will help us discuss this topic. But before we do that, if you are someone who's joined T4 events before, you know we like to involve you in the conversation. We like to know where you're from. We like to say hello. We want to hear your questions, your comments. So please, first of all, tell us who you are, where you're from. We want to see who's with us today and see who's there. Feel free to add your comments into the questions. We will have a Q&A session towards the end, so we'll love to sort of understand what you want to hear and ask there. So, here we go. We've got some coming in. So we have Nonofo. Hello from Botswana. Hello, Nonofo. Welcome. Great to see you. Keep them coming. So hi, Devinda from the UK. Good to see you as well. I am delighted to have our specialist speaker with us today. We have Sonia Williams Fox joining us. She is a specialist in emotional education, well-being, and education management. She's got a real long experience in consulting and teacher training. She holds a postgraduate degree from the University of Barcelona and is currently a consultant on school climate, socio-emotional learning, and well-being at Somos Red, which is an organization in Argentina. She's the academic director of the postgraduate course on emotional education and well-being at the Catholic University of Argentina, and she collaborates with the Ministry of Education in Argentina and the University of Buenos Aires City. She's also written many books and is really dedicated to integrating social and emotional learning into the curriculum and school settings to enhance performance and well-being for students, teachers, and school leaders. So, hello, Sonia. Welcome. Thank you so much for joining us.
Hello. Thank you for this invitation. I feel very honored. So it's very nice to be here.
You're very welcome. Before I ask you to take over and give a presentation, Sonia, so you've been working, various different roles for many years in the education sector. Where did the interest in well-being kind of develop for you? How did that come about?
Well, for the last 20 years, I've been working with social emotional learning. Yes, basically focusing on student skills, and that has given me the opportunity, to understand the let's say the connection between emotions and learning, but also the connection between emotions and teaching. So they're so connected. To be able to deal in the classroom, with social emotional skills for learners, we need also to stop and reflect and see how are our own skills in this area. So one thing took me to the other, and actually now I'm working on both dimensions, learners and teachers, but they're two sides of the same coin. I mean, teachers and learners and their achievement and the teacher's satisfaction and performance. I mean, everything is connected. So that's why teacher well-being has been in the last years something that has worried me or interested me, and I've been working in schools ever since I finished my own schooling. I feel I've been part as a teacher, as a school leader, and I think this is a very important topic, at least to have some time to reflect upon it.
Absolutely. I totally agree as well. Everything is kind of connected between the students, the teachers, the workplace culture, and learning outcomes as well. So it's a topic we need to talk about more. We need to investigate more. So without further ado, Sonia, I'll hand over to yourself. You've got a presentation for us. As I said, we'll have some time for some questions at the end. So
Fine.
I'll hand over, Sonia. Let me just pull up your presentation.
Yeah, thank you for that.
Okay.
Mike.
Thank you. Over to you, Sonia.
Okay. Well, the topic of today, as Mike introduced, has to do with promoting teacher well-being in schools. And in the next slide, we can see how, as I said before, everything is intertwined and woven together in inseparable ways. As Mike also said in the introduction, we have challenging times now in education. And I think, and I strongly believe, that teacher well-being matters more than ever. And there's a specialist, yes, called Casasus. He's from Chile, and he's the author of a very nice book called The Education of the Emotional Self. And there he reminds us, of the having also this taking into account the relationship between our physical dimension, our emotional, and our rational. Of course, there are others, but these I think we can all agree on that these interconnect. And if we think about ourselves, if we're feeling tired, if we're feeling hungry, this will affect our emotional state, how we're feeling. We probably feel a bit nervous, anxious, or irritated, whatever, it depends. And this also affects our mental state. So this works for students and works for adults. I mean, but sometimes we forget about this, that our emotions, yes, are completely connected with how we are in our physical well-being. Yes, and this will impact also all our cognitive functions. So this teaching professional is so demanding, and it is emotional. He says, Casasus says that it is an emotional profession because it is based on the generation of emotions, not only emotions arising in our students, but what is happening to us as teachers, you know? And this importance of reflecting, of having self-awareness, which is one of the skills, you know, we work on. Self-awareness is so important to be able to understand how we are feeling at a certain time now, before we go into the classroom, yes, giving the possibility to understand what we're feeling and to manage our own feelings. And it is challenging, yes, to be every day in front of so many students with an incredible diversity. And, well, it is very demanding. It's very satisfying as well, yes. But I think this opportunity to reflect upon this is so important. So, yes, we can continue, Mike. Thank you. So, as I was saying, no, everything that happens at work is at heart an emotional moment. Yes, we are emotional beings. And research shows that our emotions and moods transfer from one person to another and from one person to an entire team. So how we are feeling today at a certain moment will impact, yes, our own behavior, but also will impact others. It will impact our colleagues, and also as a teacher in the classroom, it will impact, yes, our students. So, and there are such an enormous variety of different emotional states, no, and emotions and feelings. And we have those that impact us more positively, like passion, interests, motivation. I just put some examples: enthusiasm, admiration, satisfaction, joy, empathy, compassion. But we also, yes, go through different emotional feelings like disappointment and sadness, confusion, insecurity, anger, why not, loneliness, overwhelmed, discouraged. I mean, Mike was mentioning this. Yes, it's true, no? How teachers feel sometimes very overwhelmed with the demands of the teaching profession. So we have such a variety of different emotions every day, yes? And, well, one of the very important things from the start is to be aware of this. No, sometimes we carry on day after day in kind of an automatic pilot. Yes, we get up, we go to work, we do what we have to do. And how many times during the day do we stop and think about, okay, let's scan our body, let's scan our emotions, let's scan how we are feeling and what we can do with that we're feeling. Okay. There's a very nice book which I recommend. I'm sure you've read it. It's Mark Brackett from Yale University's book called Permission to Feel. And he's got a chapter dedicated to feelings at work. So I strongly recommend it. Yes, we can carry on because I just to put it in photos, yes, all the different feelings that we have, and experts like Paul Ekman, which I'm sure you've heard about or you've read, and Mark Brackett and Rafael Vizquerra, which I'll present now. They mention, no, any amount of emotions that we have along a same day. No, emotions vary. Thank God, they change from one moment to the other. And if we go to the next slide, we can see how these authors have made kind of a graphic of classifying the different emotions. For Rafael Vizquerra, which he's from the University of Barcelona, he has a book called Universe of Emotions. And he tells us that there are around 500 different emotions and feelings, and he's sort of organized them in families or galaxies. And at the same time that he was working on this, Paul Ekman, he's, I think, one of the world's best leaders in emotions. And he's got, I've left here the link, and he organized also the emotions into countries, continents mainly, and it's called Atlas of Emotions. The website is very interesting, and you can go into the website to be able to deepen a bit more into this. But mainly, he talks about the core emotions that we have, those that are programmed in us and that have to do with survival and how we adapt, yes, to our society, to our world, to the demands that we go through. And basically he talks about the enjoyment, yes, disgust, anger, sadness, fear. These come up in the film, yes, Inside Out, which probably you have seen. And so, well, we have a great variety of emotions. And Mark Brackett, in his book, he asks some questions which I found very interesting, and sometimes we don't think about this. But I'd like you to for a moment just think of how you woke up or this morning, or how you generally wake up. If you are glad, yes, to get out of bed and to start off your day and go to your job, or if you want to just pull the covers over your head and hide, he says, or when you are at school, if the hours fly by and you are immersed in the challenges and the pleasures of work and of your job, or you're constantly watching, looking at your watch and he says, I'm praying for a fire drill or something to stop work. And while all these are signs, these, if we were aware of these signs, well, this is information. It tells us how we are feeling, what our emotional states are, and not only at work, but what happens during the day has an impact on the rest of the day, and sometimes in other days as well. So, well, something to take into account is to be aware of this, and the importance of knowing that the emotional state that we're in. Yes, you can go to the next slide, Mike. Thank you. Has to do with the situations and the events, and how we value. We have everybody has a value system, and our values probably differ from one person to another, but we evaluate these situations in a personal way, and this provokes the emotions, and the emotions, yes, puts us into action. And here is where our behaviors and our actions appear. And what we generally see in the classroom, at school, yes, are the behaviors, and as leaders, also it's important, to be aware and to be attentive of what is happening with teachers at school. Yes, how are they feeling? This is so very important. And the next question that I would do after this important question of how are you feeling is how can I help? When there is a teacher in a situation where she's sad, distressed, discouraged, or whatever those emotions that can impact on us in a negative way, well, how can I help you? To be open to this, because we are emotional beings. So we can go to the next slide. And something that is also important to take into account is that the emotional state is not a product of the event or situation in itself, but it has to do with the meaning, that the individual gives to such event. So what does this mean? That the same thing that happens at school, yes, will be felt, yes, by different people in different ways. And what does this have to do with? It has to do with who we are, basically, yes. It has to do with our own self, with our experiences in life, and this will determine, yes, how we react to that situation. So sometimes we say, but how can it be, that my colleague reacted in such a way with such a situation? Well, yes, this is what happens. We all react in different ways, even if the situation that triggers, yes, the reaction is the same. So that is something to have in mind. Yes. So we'll go on to the next slide to be able to start understanding the importance of a balance in our lives, and the importance of fostering positive learning environments, because not only for the students, but as leaders also, that there is a school culture and school climate, yes, of acceptance, of respect. And this is very important to foster, to think about it, yes, to put in an agenda, say, okay, what can I do to improve this? Our emotional well-being is so important, but also our physical well-being is important. And one of the aspects that for me is very, very important is to build a sense of belonging and connection at school. And as teachers, yes, being able to manage a balance between work and life is also very important, because as I said before, many days we take home what has happened at school, and this carries impacting on our lives, yes, and sometimes this is difficult, but if we manage to develop and foster our own self-awareness, and we will be able to do something with that. We will be able to express what we're feeling, recognize it, and manage it. This self-regulation is very, very important. And professional satisfaction is related to teacher retention, yes. And if we have strong sense of belonging and we feel recognized at work and satisfied with our profession, then this will impact, yes, wanting to stay at school. And of course, this will impact also on students' well-being and their academic performance. So as I said at the beginning, everything is so linked together, but professional satisfaction is so important for us. And well, I think it's time now to go to, in my experience, these just to share some of the things that the schools that I've been with have done. And I thought about it as an individual level intervention, and also as school level interventions. As an individual level interventions, it's so important, to develop professional training. Yes, teachers need to keep improving and being able to have all the skills they need for these challenging times. And one of the ways to go about it is also, yes, being able to improve their own social emotional skills, yes, as adults. Having time also to being able to improve our own, yes, stress management, and have time for mindfulness programs. Mindfulness is so important, and this also helps, for emotional regulation. Physical health initiatives has to do with in one of the schools that I worked with, a physical education team. We had 2 teachers that delivered relaxation opportunities. This was Fridays at the end of the week. The teachers stayed and we stayed and we practiced relaxation techniques, and we had a bit of yoga. This was also important, and the teachers liked that very much. And as heads of department or coordinators or leaders at school, also very important, yes, to plan these one-to-one meetings, to be able to connect with teachers, not only professionally, but on a personal level, to be able to give them emotional support, to be able to get to know them better. We expect this from students, but sometimes we don't think about it, yes, as teachers, how to connect, how to enjoy this active listening, yes, and be there for the other person, for the other teacher and their needs, we all have needs, and this is something that we share. Maslow, yes, and the pyramid of needs tells us, that we all share the same needs. Some are basic needs, yes, but also the need of affection, yes, of connection, of belonging. This is so important to always have in mind. And as a school, yes, I think something that sometimes one doesn't give too much time to this, but I think one has to be able to reflect on the vision of the school, yes, and have this very clear, communicate the vision, the mission, and also our values as a school. So one needs to plan time for this, to reflect together as a team, yes. What can we do to improve our vision, and are we, yes, working in different areas of the school towards this vision? Do we need to adapt it to the current times? Do we need to change something? Do we need to add something? Well, this is a process, yes, and something that has to do also with the overload of teachers and this feeling, of sometimes of despair. So many things that we have to do as teachers is to think of the way to provide adequate planning time within, yes, our job time, within work, because if not, we take home a lot of things to do. So if the school tries to organize timetables and tries to allow teachers, yes, to get together and plan, this is great. The other thing as a school, I think it's very important, and for leaders, yes, is to celebrate teachers' achievements. Teachers work hard, and sometimes we don't make it visible, yes, of the achievements. And when teachers are allowed, yes, and have certain activities planned where they can share what they're doing, they feel proud of their work. And I think this is very important, to feel recognized. Everybody needs this, and building a community with staff has to do with this, with a connection, and being able to think about this sense of belonging, and what can we do as leaders, as heads of department, as coordinators, as teachers, to create a community where we feel valued, recognized, and respected. So we can carry on, Mike, if you want. These are the skills that there are so many different programs for teaching skills, social emotional learning skills, which are life skills to students, but there are also different programs for teachers, yes, to be able to improve the different social emotional skills, like, as I mentioned, which is for me so important, which is self-awareness, but also, recognizing, and understanding and managing our own emotions, and how to manage stress, and conflict resolution, how to take, responsible decisions, how to enrich our interpersonal relationship, empathy, and effective communication. So there are programs that work with teachers, to enrich these skills. Well, some, I'm sure you know them. Yes, some are Ruler, which is the Yale University program. Also CARE is another program, Mindful Schools as well, and 6 Seconds is another organization that caters for not only students' social and emotional skills, but also for the teachers. So to have in mind, that we need to improve, our own social emotional skills. Sorry about this, I need to drink some water. If we can carry on, yes, I'm fine. So these are some of the initiatives that we have been working at different schools. One is morning special breakfast get together every 15 days. Friday mornings, teachers used to come in 15 minutes before and share a special get-together breakfast. This was also very, very nice. And just from a personal level, just to share a nice breakfast. Also, the importance of working together in school projects. This is great. This really is important, to have in mind what opportunities do we give teachers to work with others. The celebrations. Celebrations can be different kinds of celebrations of achievements, but also celebrations that have to do with personal achievements, like if there's a birthday, okay, we can organize assemblies, put posters up, a bulletin, a mural, bulletin boards where not only teachers at staff rooms, but also, why not students? Students love knowing that it's the teacher's birthday, and have celebration. But also, well, if there are celebrations on marriages, on births, if a teacher has graduated in something, well, also that's a celebration, something to be celebrated, but also academic achievements. If the teachers have finished a project, a school project, well, what opportunities do we have to share this? And this is great. This is great when we create this sharing culture in the school, at the end of the year, in one of the schools, we started sharing our teaching practices with members of staff, but also coordinators and school leaders were invited. And we worked with a presentation style, which is called, it's a strange name, it's called Pecha Kucha. And it's because everybody has something amazing to share. And we also worked with a ladder of feedback. We go to the next slide. I just put up just something to explain. The Pecha Kucha had to do with, we used to get together at the end of the year with time to share. And the teachers, they knew us from the beginning of the year that we were going to ask for this, that they share a practice, a good practice that they felt that they wanted to share with their colleagues. And they only had 6 minutes. This is Pecha Kucha, is only 6 minutes, not more than 20 slides, very visual, very down to the point, but in 6 minutes, they had to share this best practice. And the rest of the colleagues, well, they had to give feedback. And we used this ladder of feedback, which worked very well. Of course, during the presentation, nobody talked. Everybody just listened. But after those 6 minutes, you could, as the audience, could ask for clarification. Yes, if there's something that wasn't too clear. Value, recognize comments on, okay, the strengths of that presentation, what they liked, what they found interesting, but also any concerns. Yes, comment on something that you're not too sure about, or you have a certain concern about something that the teacher presented, and maybe why not make suggestions, to improve the work, or to how to expand probably a project being presented. Well, why not to do it this way? Or we would like to think of this in another way. I mean, different things. It was very, let's say, very interesting, yes, but it was an exchange, but on in a very professional way. Yes, the teacher was very much proud of her presentation, and she was also very, she or he, they were very open, yes, to receiving feedback, to keep on improving. So this worked really well. Yes, so I wanted to share this. So yes, we can carry on. Then we organized peer-to-peer classroom observations. Also very interesting. The teachers chose who they wanted to come in, what other teacher, yes, to come into the classroom and observe a class. And this was great, because after the observation, there was time to exchange, to comment, like using the same ladder of feedback, but, well, what was my impression, what things came up, and it was in a safe environment, because the teacher chose who she would like, yes, to have observing her or him. Then inter-school events, yes, exchange and work with other schools. Sometimes it can be sports activities, or debating was very interesting, yes, organizing debating activities, or general knowledge competitions. This was also something that was very nice. Something that I put it here because I think is very important, is how to think about how to tutor new members of staff. When one starts at a school, one has a lot of, yes, questions and doubts, and one feels, sometimes scared about what's going on, and it takes a couple of months, to adjust to a new school. So having a teacher from the school to accompany, yes, to be the tutor, and knowing as a new member of staff that you have somebody, yes, to go to ask questions, to share. This is very important, and this worked really well. Another way of sharing, and not only among teachers, but also to families, to the communities, a school bulletin or newsletter. We used to have 3 in a year, and where we used to share the activities that were done by the whole school. This was very good. So the kindergarten teachers and families, yes, were able to know about what was going on in primary and in secondary level. And this was great. Yes, you felt you were part of the whole school. I always worked in schools that they had the 3 levels. Mindfulness, yoga, you already mentioned, and different special activities. Yes, like family day, book fairs, science fairs, art exhibitions, solidarity campaigns, and much more that I'm sure you also do. So yes, connection builds trust, definitely. Yes, so one needs to put in agenda. Yes, the time for reflection, the time to share, and the time to work together as a team. I think this is very, very important. Yes, we can carry on. Also, I was very honored to participate in 2 government school improvement projects. One had to do with art, well-being, and creativity. And the interesting thing about this was carried on by the city of Buenos Aires, the Ministry of Education, but also within a university, St. Andrews University, and an organization that worked with artists. So these were artists coming into school and planning and sharing plannings with the teachers, and they also supported the teacher in the activities with the students. So this was great, because there were so many ideas that came up from artists. There were dancers, yes, there were musicians, there were circus acrobats. It was incredible. It was really, really nice. And the other school improvement project, working with more than 2,000 schools in vulnerable environments. It was school improvement. So we worked with head teachers, but also with 2 referent teachers from each school. And we gave them professional development, and in different areas as math and technology, yes, language, but also in school climate and education, emotional education. So this was really, really nice. And I've left there the references so that you can look into it if you want. So to go rounding up the importance of well-being, this is Rafael Vizquerra, and he talks about this flor de Venecia, it's called in Spanish, the well-being flower, with different dimensions. No, the emotional one, the material dimension, which is also important to have stability, our physical well-being, social well-being has to do with the relationships that we have with not only our families, yes, our friends, but also at work, and the professional satisfaction, yes. And if I would ask you to evaluate your own dimensions from 1 to 5, being 5 the best, yes, where would you be? And I'm sure, at least when I did it, and I've done it several times along these years, I value different dimensions in different ways, and probably it gives us time for reflection, to be aware of this, and to say, okay, for example, in my physical dimension, I need to improve. Yes, I need to improve my nutrition. I need to improve the hours that I sleep and the quality of sleep. I need to do more exercise, etc., etc., etc. So, well, sometimes just a few minutes, to be able to value where you are and what you need to focus on, your attention and the need of putting your energy where is it important? Yes, because if we manage, yes, to have the most value in all the dimensions, well, then we will manage this work-life balance that I mentioned before. And as Barbara Fredrickson from Positive Psychology, she says that just as water lilies retract when the sunlight fades, so do our minds when positivity fades. The importance of fostering our own positive emotions, and if we go to one of the last slides, thank you, Mike. We need to recover from the stresses of the workday. This is Patricia Jennings saying it means taking time to rest and refresh ourselves and to enjoy time with our friends and our family. It also means taking time to savor moments of joy, inspiration, and gratitude. We need teachers, yes, to have humor, enthusiasm, and energy, because, as I said before, teaching is very demanding. So we need to, yes, re-energize and work around this and help ourselves, because this will allow us to feel better and, well, feel in balance in our lives, which I think is something very, very important. So I think this is about it. Yes, the last one has to do with this quote. It says, when teachers thrive, students soar, schools succeed, and communities flourish. So thank you very much for this opportunity to share this, and I'm open to questions.
Thank you so much, Sonia. That was so interesting and so many great examples, as well as the research behind that. I have loads of questions myself, but I need to encourage everyone. Please do put some questions in. We'd love to kind of open out and ask some discussion, have some great discussions. One thing actually quickly I'd like to do though, I noticed we have a really special person following us today, joining in today. I just wanted to quickly flag, we have the wonderful Gahendra from CMRISE in the audience today. Gahendra is a school leader that has inspired us. So Gahendra and the CMRISE team won our World's Best School Prize award last week. So
Wow.
Congratulations to
Congratulations.
His work and his the work they do at the CMRISE team, and Gahendra especially, is massively inspiring. So just wanted to say thank you for joining, Gahendra, and everybody. You may well find it interesting to follow what Gahendra is doing. They're doing some incredible things. It's on our website. There's just some great things they're doing over there in India. So congratulations and great to see you. Okay, let's open up some questions. Maybe I'll start if it's okay, Sonia, and then we can dig in. So. I found it so interesting. You were talking about emotions, and it's so interesting, some of the drawings you showed about the millions of emotions that we have and the importance of them. And you talked about what's the role of the school, what's the role of the individual in this, in building well-being. And one of the things I thought was just, should school leaders, do they need to think about educating their staff around how to think about emotions? I mean, that's quite a difficult subject, right? I mean, I think it's not a very easy thing to grasp. And is there a role for school leaders there, or is that very much an individual thing that individuals have to just handle themselves?
Let's say school leaders are role models. Let's start out with that. Yes. So school leaders need to understand the importance of emotions in their staff, yes, in their team, the working team. And I think we need to, yes, provide for teacher training in this, yes, to bring in social emotional skills for teachers. And here in Argentina, there is not much time for this. We have some days a year, not very many, allotted to teacher training, where teachers come to school, but students don't. So those are special days, yes, where we can get together, yes, and reflect and understand, in this case, the importance of emotions in teaching and in learning. Because I think theory is important, yes, and well, if there is one organization that has been working for more than 30 years, and this is CASEL from in the United States, and the website has any amount of different programs, but if a school is working with a social emotional learning program, it also helps teachers, and teachers need to understand what they're going to teach, yes, and how this is important for themselves. And so it starts with the teachers, yes, and then it goes to students. So teachers need time to think about this and experience this. No, all the activities that one proposes are all experiential, yes, and then reflection. So I think this is an ongoing process.
Mm-hmm. So school leaders can help with helping them be aware and understanding, having third-party speakers in on that side, and then teachers can obviously have to look into that, manage that themselves. But then you have the framework with support and check-ins and some of those sides on that side. Yeah, okay, that all makes sense. A couple of points you mentioned, and then I will open it up. So, you mentioned about teachers planning together. So how important it was for teachers to get together, plan, share ideas, collaboration. And it's interesting, actually, the collaboration point is a really interesting one. We constantly in the Best School to Work program see the schools that are allowing time for staff to collaborate at a really high level are the ones that are that's one of the things that we really see that links the schools that are performing really well. But it's always this balance with then workload and time and how you do that practically. How, as a school leader, can you create time in busy schedules for staff to plan together at a practical level without adding to workload? Because
sure. In the Argentine context, yes, planning time is not paid extra. Okay. Probably in other countries, yes, but not here. So within the school timetable, we used to try and organize, for example, if we had 3 first grade teachers, let's say, yes, and we tried to organize a timetable so that when one teacher was, or the music teacher was in his or her classroom, the other one was a physical education and the other in art. So they could get together, yes, to plan. And the coordinator, we generally had a coordinator or heads of department to be able to plan also the agenda, to be able to be together with the teachers. So it was this of like a Tetrix, to try and put the pieces together so that there was enough time during school hours to be able to get together and plan. This was very helpful.
Mm-hmm. So that comes down to the scheduling side and managing on that side, by really thinking about your scheduling.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay. We've got a question from Pat Julia. I think just picking up on one of your examples. I think you mentioned a health fair, and Pat just asked, what's a health fair?
Health fair. Well, we worked science fairs, really. We had different science fairs and book fairs, and health fair had to do with well-being, yes. And basically it was organized by the science, yes, team, and the physical education. There were different, yes, inputs by different teachers, but we talked a lot, and the children did different projects, yes, about the importance of a healthy lifestyle, yes, and the different groups of children took on responsibility on different subjects. It could be nutrition, it could be sleep, it could be exercise. So depending the interest of the teachers and the special class teachers, like the gym staff, for example, they would organize, yes, and with the children, a special project. And then we had like an exhibition, different stands, and families were invited, and the children explained, yes, about this and healthy nutrition. It was nice how the children understood, yes, different types of food and what was good and was not so good, and the impact of sugar in our body, and etc. There's a lot to work along there, and in the curriculum itself, in the physical education curriculum, there is a lot of content that has to do with this. So it was nice to, well, who takes on what? Yes, there's so many different contents around this, but the nice thing is that the children had time to present all this to their families and to the other groups of students.
Okay, that's great. That's really interesting. So tying some of the content in the physical education area and bringing that forward. Actually, Jose Luis was just commenting as well about kind of the health fair. So Jose mentioned I think something that presumably he does in his class or his school as well: checkups, mindfulness sessions, mental health, Zumba, and more. So that's thank you, Jose. Yeah, that's really interesting as well. Okay, workload. So one of the things I see a lot, obviously, is the conversation around workload. And as we think about well-being and planning and time for self and collaboration and environment, it's hard to balance it with workload and this generic conversation about, like in any workplace, I think these things, adding more things is great. More things you think about is great, but how do you just not end up adding more to workload? Do you have any thoughts about that? I know that's a difficult conversation. That's a really tricky one.
It is, but emotions impact on our health, on our social relationships, on our decisions, on our performance, on our effectiveness, on how we're feeling, on our attention. So, I mean, it's so important. And workload, we can manage workload let's say, in a better way if we are more aware of our own needs. I think this working on ourselves as teachers, as human beings with our needs, understanding how we are feeling now, today, yes, recognizing that, and I think basically it has to do with this: how are we, dealing with ourselves and our own emotions and our own challenges, to be able to deal with, yes, challenges coming from the outside world and from school. But we need to be, yes, in a better, as Jennings says, to be able to have time to balance, to have time to a family, to enjoy, to start probably an activity that one wanted to do and there's not much time to do it. Well, stop and think, what is it that you need as a human being, yes, to thrive, to feel enjoyment, to feel at ease, to feel you are in a state of well-being, yes. And I think this is difficult, and as I said at one point, we are in automatic pilot sometimes. We do, and how much time do we give ourselves to stop and think and stop and breathe and relax and connect with our own needs and feelings? It sounds probably difficult, but it's not that difficult. It starts off with self-awareness.
So time to breathe, self-awareness, managing
Yes.
emotions. I think that's a wonderful way to bring this session to a conclusion. Sonia, thank you so much for your time. That's been really, really interesting. I'm sure everybody has learned a lot from that. Just to say to the audience, we will be sharing the recording of the event. So thank you very much. It'll be going up on our YouTube channel, where we have also on our YouTube channel, we also have a range of other recordings. They're sort of segmented by events for leaders and events for teachers. So one's for teachers a little bit more classroom based, one's for leaders a little bit more school wide based. So do explore, do subscribe to the channel. We will be undertaking more of these events, especially focusing on the topic of workplace culture for all of the reasons we've discussed today. So keep your eye out. We're looking to announce another session coming up soon. And thank you everyone for that. Do let us know your thoughts and what you'd like to see discussed in the future. And from that point, Sonia, I'd like to say thank you so much. And with that, we will close.
Thank you, Mike. Thank you. Thank you all.
Thank you so much.